Actually, there were a couple of ones, but I want to start off with this one. We talked after that. We talked about the fact that they needed, we went over the position needs. And out of all the position needs, there were two that were still not settled, or at least they had not decided to do anything about it. That was offensive line and a future number one tight end. So they probably, kicked the future number one tight end deal down the road. That happens. But the offensive line, we know how important that is, especially for San Francisco, because we had a really detailed conversation about this. About it's really the system that it work, not necessarily going out there and needing to draft high caliber prospects. So how does the offensive line look at this point? And we also talked more recently about the left guard spot and whether or not there was competition there with, I think we mentioned, you talked about Barch and Burford at the time, maybe battling it out, but how's it going right now on the offensive line?
Yeah, Ben Barch is going to be the starting left guard. He missed the start of training camp, but when he came back, Nick Zakelj was the player taking the first team reps while he was out. Okay. Barch immediately stepped back in with the first team and took all the first team reps until he hurt his elbow. And then rookie 7th round pick Connor Colby stepped in with the ones, which I thought was interesting. But Barch is going to start there. And the Niners offensive line is going to have some of the same questions that it always has. And that's, can it hold up against the best defensive lines in the biggest spots? If they're good enough to make the playoffs, can they hold up against Detroit? Can they hold up against Philly? I'm not totally sure. Dominic Pooney, their starting right guard, is also dealing with a knee injury that he suffered against the Raiders in their second preseason game while blocking on a field goal attempt. He is out for a few weeks. His status for week 1 is still up in the air, but it doesn't sound optimistic that he'll be ready to start week 1. So you may see a player like Connor Colby or Nick Zakelj starting at right guard with Ben Barch at the left side to open the year.
Okay, so maybe a 7th round draft pick could start week 1 on the offensive line for San Francisco, but if any team can deal with that, it's definitely San Francisco. We also talked about on offense, a number 3 receiver, and I know this just opens up a bigger question regarding everything that's gone on with this unit, including Brandon Ayuk's health and then Jordan Watkins most recently. So, yeah, I mean, what's going on with this unit?
Boy, that's a great question. And I think looking at the RLAD's depth chart here, you see the potential issues, right? Ricky Pearsall is the clear-cut number 1. He's had a great camp. Jawan Jennings has not been in camp because, he started camp and then hurt his calf, re-aggravated a calf injury that he had in OTAs. So he's a question mark for week 1. Kyle Shanahan said that they're not really concerned about week 1 right now. And for me, if you don't have a good idea that person's coming back or is going to start practicing soon, that puts your status for week 1 in doubt. Demarcus Robinson, we don't know what his status is going to be because he may be suspended for 3 games because of a DUI incident from last November. Jordan Watkins, a really promising rookie from Ole Miss, he's hurt. Jacob Cowing, a second-year player, he's been dealing with a hamstring injury. He's back, but he couldn't crack the rotation last year. So it's TBD. It sounds like he might have to play and play a lot, and we're not even sure if he's good. And then you get down to your Robbie Chosens, your Tariq Owens. Russell Gage has had a really nice camp, just kind of out of nowhere. It wouldn't surprise me if he plays a lot, especially early in the season. And then your Malik Turners and your Junior Bergens and your Isaiah Hodgins. And then I think they signed Malik Knowles today. It's unproven players who I don't think have much to show, and unproven players like Jacob Cowing where, okay, you see kind of the skill set, the 3-level route running ability, and you see the speed, you see the explosiveness, but why couldn't he get on the field last year? What's the problem? Is that going to hold him up if he does have to play? So a lot of question marks in the receiver room, but Ricky Pearsall and Jawan Jennings are the very clear-cut top 2, and I expect that to be the case, assuming Jennings is healthy in week 1.
Okay, and Ayuk's timetable, what is it now?
They finally put a date, sort of. They had been the 49ers, John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan, whoever spoke, was reticent to give a date, because once you put a date on it, people start expecting that. And if they're not back by that date, now there's pressure. So he said all their ACL guys, that includes Malik Mustafa, that includes 7th round pick Curtis Rourke, that includes Brandon Ayuk, are like week 6-ish. Now he said it could be week 5. It could be week 10. But week 6 would make sense if week 5 they're on a short week. That's a Thursday night game against the Rams. But week 6 that gives you a bonus practice to work in the lead up to week 6. So you get 4 practices to kind of get your feet underneath you before playing in a game on a Sunday. So if Ayuk is going to come back, I would expect it to be week 6 or after.
Okay. All right. Let's put that there. Okay. So then Watkins, is this this isn't a major thing, is it?
No, it's a high ankle sprain. He suffered that in joint practice at the Broncos in the game. It must have been in the game against the Broncos because he played. But yeah, high ankle sprain. He's expected to miss a month. So if he misses a month, he'll be back by week 2. So yeah, I don't think they're expecting him to be out long term.
Okay. Sounds like Gage, out of everybody, Gage is the the one that actually has something positive to say about, besides of course Pearsall. Yeah,
Pearsall and Juwan Jennings is obviously really good when he's healthy, and Demarcus Robinson's been good too. I don't want to leave him out. It's just that he might be suspended, so keep an eye on that. But Russell Gage, it wouldn't shock me at all if he made the team. Hasn't played since 2022. Had a neck injury that knocked him out of a season, then had a patellar tendon tear that knocked him out of a season, and then I think he was at the Ravens practice squad last year. So hasn't played in a regular season game since 2022, but looks healthy. He's been productive. So it wouldn't shock me at all if Russell Gage winds up making the team.
And that contract deal by Jennings earlier in the spring, is that gone now?
Well, no, because he still doesn't have that extension, but there's this conspiracy floating around that he's not actually hurt and that he's holding in with a fake injury. Okay. I don't buy that. He was having a good camp. He showed up. He was participating. He was playing the role and doing everything that you would be doing as a number 1 wide receiver, taking the first rep in individual drills and playing hard and blocking in team drills and doing everything you'd want that player to do to earn a raise. I don't know how close they are on money. I have nothing on that. I don't know if he wants $15 million a year or 20 or 25. I have no idea. My guess is if he was cool with 12 to 15 a year, I'm assuming they would have had a contract done by now. So my guess is he probably wants more than that.
Okay.
And I don't think that there's any plan right now to extend him, particularly since he's hurt. So the contract thing still lingers, but I don't think it's impacting him now, and I don't expect it to impact him in the regular season.
All right. What about weak side linebacker? That was another position that you talked about to keep an eye on. So how is that? Is that a real competition, or is D Winters going to be the man?
Yeah, it sounds like D Winters is going to be the man. It was never a competition. D Winters is a player, and I want to highlight him here for a second because I thought D Winters was on the bubble going into camp. 6th round pick from 2023. They didn't trust him to play will linebacker last year, and they went with Devondre Campbell for a bulk of the year. And D Winters played, I think, the 3rd most snaps among linebackers for San Francisco last year. But he'd bit too hard on play fakes and was over aggressive and just didn't look like an NFL linebacker. And so I thought maybe this might be his last camp with the Niners. Well, he stepped in day 1 as the starting will linebacker. That's going to be the position that's on the field for all 3 downs. And it's a really important spot. And he's held that down. And he's played really well in camp. And the coverage ability has been there. And that's so key to controlling the second level in that area of the field. So I think D Winters is going to start. There's been no real competition for him, with all due respect to Nick Martin, the rookie 3rd round pick, who had an atrocious preseason opener, but was much better in the second game against the Raiders. I think it's D Winters' job to start week 1.
And then the other battle was at corner for the number 3 job.
Yeah.
So how's that looking?
Yeah, it looks like, barring injury, it looks like Upton Stout, the rookie 3rd round pick, is gonna grab that job. He was, if you read any practice recap or you watched any practice, it was just like, man, he's one of their 11 best defenders. He was really good in one-on-one drills. He was good in team drills, and is the concern with a player who's 5'8", buck 82 or whatever he is, not a big guy, is how well do you set the edge? Can you stick your nose in and play the run? That's so key with nickel corners. And he's done that. And he's been really impressive in doing so. So I would be shocked if Upton Stout is healthy and not lining up at nickel corner for the 49ers in week 1.
Is the main man on the outs Trey Brown?
I don't know if he's on the outs necessarily, but I don't think he's done enough to win that starting nickel job. They might like him enough and his versatility enough to potentially play inside and outside that they keep him around as a special teams guy and maybe like a fourth corner. Okay. But I don't think he's necessarily in competition with Stout to be the starting nickel.
One more, and then we'll take a different approach, and that is competition for Jake Moody, which never happened. Are you surprised by that?
What happened a little bit? Greg Joseph was in camp, and they were by all accounts dead even, and then the 49ers ran into injuries everywhere else and couldn't hold a roster spot for a kicker anymore. So they cut Greg Joseph, and Kyle Shanahan made it really clear that there was this reaction when that happened that, Jake Moody won the battle. But Kyle Shanahan made it very clear Jake Moody is still battling with every available kicker. He has to make his kicks. And then against the Raiders, he didn't get an opportunity against Denver. And then against the Raiders, he missed from 53 and then barely made a 26-yarder to follow that up. And it felt like, oh man, this is dicey. But in the fourth quarter, he hit 2 game-tying kicks, one from 44, one from 50, and then hit a game winner from 59 and looked comfortable. And the 59-yarder, he drilled it. Like it wasn't like he narrowly, he drilled it. It was right down the middle. So I think he's the kicker for now. I still think he has a really short leash. If he comes out week 1 and misses 2 kicks, I wouldn't be surprised at all if we see Jake Moody let go and Greg Joseph in the building for the 49ers. But for right now, yeah, there's no internal competition, and Jake Moody's the kicker.
Okay. Now, let's I want to start with the offense. There's a second line of questioning, and that is, well, first of all, I got to ask you about all these players in red here, these other injured players, especially at running back. What's going on there with all those injured running backs?
Isaac Guerendo's back. So he had a shoulder injury early in the year. So Isaac Guerendo's back in practice. They're kind of easing him in just out of precaution, especially because he dealt with a bunch of injury stuff last year. So Isaac Guerendo is back. I'm expecting him to be RB2 to open the year. Jordan James broke his finger before what day is it? Wednesday. So a week ago today, 2 weeks ago today, 2 weeks ago today, broke his finger and needed surgery. They expected him to be out a couple of weeks. So I'm guessing he'll be ready for week 1. Corey Kiner, the undrafted rookie, really promising young player, turned his ankle badly against the Raiders, has a bad high ankle sprain. The team actually waived him on Wednesday. Waived him with that injury designation. So if he clears waivers, he'll revert to their IR and be there for the season. He might get picked up off waivers though, where it's TBD on when he'll be back.
Okay. And Jordan James?
He was the one with the broken finger.
Oh, that's right. Broken finger. Okay. How's Curtis Rourke?
Curtis Rourke is one of the ACL guys that Shanahan mentioned, who is like week 6.
Okay. One of those guys.
I think the plan with Curtis Rourke, the 7th round quarterback from Indiana, I think the plan with him, and I think they knew this all along because he'd been playing on a torn ACL, which is really impressive.
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah.
But it sounds like if he does come back, it would be around week 6. My guess is they're going to redshirt him though. And he's on the non-football injury list right now. I assume he'll probably stay there for the year, and that'll kind of be that. He'll get some mental reps and he'll be back next year.
Are the 49ers happy with Mac Jones as the backup?
Yeah, I think so. They said they obviously scouted him a lot leading up to the 2021 draft, where they ultimately took Trey Lance number 3 overall. Jones has looked for the most part fine. You see some of the lapses that cost him his job in New England and has turned him into a backup, but you also see some of the dimes that made him a first round pick. So I think he's trying to take the Sam Darnold route, where he gets some extra coaching, some extra development with the 49ers, and then maybe tries to go out and grab a starting job elsewhere. But for right now, I think they're very much happy with Mac Jones, QB2.
How many tight ends will the Niners keep?
Oh, I got in a debate with my co-host on Candlestick Chronicles about this.
Okay.
So I have them keeping 4, and it's the 4 that you guys at Our Lads have listed here: George
Okay.
Kittle, Luke Farrell. They're locks, like they're stone cold locks. And then Braden Willis and Jake Tonjes. Maybe they only keep 3 and get Tonjes or Willis to their practice squad. But I think that, or we may see one of those instances where they keep 3 on the initial 53-man roster, waive 1, and if they clear waivers, re-sign them when they move somebody to IR.
Yep.
That's a definite possibility. But I have them keeping all 4. I think they're going to run a lot of multiple tight end sets. I think Tonjes and Willis both have enough pass catching upside that they're intriguing enough to keep around. Willis, from what I understand, has had a really nice camp. Tonjes had a good preseason last year. He's been with the team since last year. He's on the roster last year. So I would be a little surprised if they keep Willis over him. But I ultimately think they keep 4 to answer your question.
On offense, will there be any surprise 53-man, roster designations? Will there be a player that makes the final 53 that, most people would have not thought that was possible?
Yeah, so there's 2. Jeff Wilson Jr., I think has a real shot here. He knows the offense. The 49ers, of course, were the team that signed him as an undrafted free agent out of North Texas. North Texas? Is that right?
That sounds right.
Help me out. North Texas. Yeah, North Texas. Shout out. So they know him, and he's 30 now, I think. So he's not going to be their number 1 back, but I think when you're looking at a 3rd and potentially 4th running back, you just want a guy you trust, right? Like a guy, if he has to go in the game, you feel good about handing in the ball 8 or 10 times. And I think they feel that with Jeff Wilson. So it wouldn't shock me if Jeff Wilson makes it. And then the other one is Robbie Chosen. I just don't think with this receiving core, you can really sleep on any veteran who's been productive in the NFL. He was their most prolific receiver against the Raiders. And again, you don't want to put too much stock into the preseason, but when you just start looking at injury stuff and reliability and do they trust Jacob Cowing? Is DeMarcus Robinson going to be around? Robbie Chosen spent time in San Francisco before. If they think that he knows the offense well enough that he can go in and give them 15 to 20 snaps a game, it wouldn't shock me at all if they try and keep him around.
Okay. On defense, we got 3 guys in red. Are those the main 3 guys that we see right there that are dealing with some injuries? Anyone else, or is that it?
Yeah, Upton Stout's got a calf thing that's kept him out for a while. Shanahan doesn't expect him to be out much longer, but it's not like a stone cold lock that he'll be back for the final preseason game. I think that's it. I'm looking.
Mustafa.
Those are the major ones.
Okay.
Yeah. So it sounds like Mustafa, again, ACL guy. He's interesting. So he hurt his knee in the preseason finale, in the season finale last year, week 18, but he damaged a previous ACL repair. So it's not a full ACL tear. So the return timeline's a little different. Shanahan, he was in that group of guys that Shanahan said like week 6-ish. So that's the expectation there. He's on PUP. I would assume he stays there through whenever he returns. Kevin Gibbons, it sounds like, is an IR candidate. He hasn't gone there yet, but you can designate 2 players to go on IR at 53-man cut downs without putting them on the 53-man roster. He has a pectoral injury. I would assume that he goes on IR when they make final cuts with a designation to return at some point, but it does sound like he'll be out a while. And then Yetur Gross-Matos has been dealing with the knee thing since last preseason, and they've just not been able to get it right. And it sounds like he had another setback. Shanahan said he's a candidate to start the season on PUP, so he'd miss at least 4 games. I'm not. It's hard to have any optimism that Gross-Matos is gonna give them much this year, given his injury woes last year and given how he's already suffered a setback and he's not even participated in a practice yet.
Now you talked about Upton, Stout. What about, and we just mentioned Mustafa. What about the other rookies? How are the other rookies on defense doing? You got Martin, and you did talk about him a little bit. You got Mykel Williams round 1, Collins round 2, West round 4, and Sigel round 5. How are they doing?
Oh, I forgot about Mykel Williams. He's also hurt. He hyperextended his knee in joint practice to the Broncos 2 weeks ago. Sounds like they're just being cautious in getting him back, but he's going to start. I would be shocked if he doesn't start. I think they're hoping that he'll be a run setting or an edge setting run stopper and in run situations, and then they'll kick him inside to rush the passer from the interior where he's been really, really good. So it doesn't sound like week one's in jeopardy for him, but he's had a strong camp. Stout has had a strong camp. Siegel might start. I wouldn't be shocked if they're starting secondaries, Marquise Siegel and Jair Brown or Jason Pinnock to start the year. That wouldn't shock me at all. He's been really good in practices. He's been working his way up the depth chart there. He's showed out twice in preseason games. That's flying downhill, stopping the run, being a rangy athlete with, he's got 4.37 speed or 4.3 speed. So he's shown it. And it looks like he can apply that athleticism to being a good football player, which I think gets lost in the shuffle sometimes in fawning over athleticism. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if he's a starter in that thin safety group. Nick Martin going to be a backup. Like I said, he's still got a ways to go in terms of learning. He's how to be an NFL player, learning the speed of the game, and that's fine. They have some depth there.
Sure.
CJ West looks good. Looks like a rotational defensive tackle, potential starter. Alfred Collins has been he missed OTAs, hasn't gotten to play a ton of football, but man, I keep waiting for him to have a couple just like impact plays. Like, man, that was a big man who can really move, and he just moved some bodies, got in the backfield and made a stop. Haven't seen it yet. He fires out of his stance too high. You talked about the people always talk about the NFL and the NCAA being different. And that leap from college football to pro football being just so massive. And in college, it's much easier to just manhandle offensive linemen and get into the backfield. In the NFL, it's much more difficult to do that. So I don't think Collins will never get there, but I think it's going to take a while. I'd be a little bit surprised if he had a major impact in year one.
So is he definitely the top rookie then, especially at round 2, because there's only a couple of round 7 guys on offense. So he's got to be the top guy overall that you're the most disappointed or at least have the biggest questions on. Biggest
questions for sure. It's hard to be, disappointed in the sample size that we have. Sure. Maybe he gets into the regular season and he's awesome. But so far he's fallen short of my expectation.
Okay. Any CFA is going to make the team?
Ooh.
Offense or defense? Only one on offense.
Drew Moss might. Drew Moss has had a couple of good preseason games for sure. Offensive lineman out of Colorado State. 49ers don't have it. I don't know that the 49ers think they have a ton of NFL caliber offensive linemen.
Yeah.
And so if an undrafted rookie comes in and he's just better than Connor Colby or Nick Zakel or whoever, or Matt Hennessy, then so be it. Maybe he sticks around. But on the defensive side, the guy I want to highlight here, there's 2 guys I want to highlight. 3 guys out of the 4. Sebastian Valdez, I think legit makes the team. I think he's one of their best defensive tackles.
Wow.
Low center of gravity. He's not a big guy, but he's super strong. And he just, you hear people talk about him winning all these reps in one-on-one. And then he gets into games and he's spending time in the backfield and he's just a hoss, man. He is just a really tough guy to block. So I think that he winds up making the team and I think becomes a pretty big piece of their rotation. Jacob Robinson, undersized corner, but just kind of a dog, really good in coverage, really sticky in coverage. If he doesn't make the team, I wouldn't be shocked if he gets picked up elsewhere.
Okay.
He's had a nice camp and a nice preseason. And then Derek Canteen, same kind of thing. I don't know that there'll be room for him on the roster. He's a safety, but I have been impressed with him in preseason games. But again, there's a lot more that goes into the roster calculus than just like, oh yeah, good vibes.
Yeah.
So
especially preseason.
He seems like a potential practice squad candidate just because, like I said, it's hard to make the numbers work with him making it at safety.
Okay, so that means you're completely in love with Valdez at this point as a CFA. Moss would be the second guy then? The best chance to make it?
Ooh, yeah. Ooh. Yeah, probably. Moss is 2A and Jacob Robinson's 2B for me. I think they're in similar spots where if the team wants to maybe cut a veteran
sure,
and keep the upside young guy, that wouldn't shock me. And I think offensive line and corner are kind of similar for the 49ers, and that there's the top end guys, and then there's a lot of question marks at the depth spots. So those are the two guys I think who could also sneak in.
Same question from the offense. Any surprise 53-man roster guys?
Just the ones. You mean defensively?
CFAs, basically, right? Those would be the surprise ones. Yeah, you can name a veteran on defense. Yeah, because we said the offense. Who did we pick on offense?
Yeah, on offense it was Jeff Wilson and Robbie Chosen.
That's right.
Defense. Ooh, a surprise. Maybe a player like Chaz Surratt, a linebacker.
Oh, okay.
If they just really like him on special teams, that wouldn't surprise me. Yeah. You could tell me any of the defensive ends made it, and I don't think I'd be shocked. They just don't have a ton of depth there. A guy like Robert Beal Jr. has not been super effective in his career. Sam Okuwanu's fine, but not like irreplaceable. If you want to take somebody else over him, Yetur Gross-Matos sounds like he's not going to be ready for week 1. So there's going to be roster spots open there. You could, if you told me Jonathan Garvin or Travis Gibson wound up making the team, I wouldn't be floored. And then the other one, it's not a huge surprise, but a player like Siren Neal, longtime special teams ace. The 49ers need special teams help. He wasn't a player that I had circled to start camp, but he has some safety cornerback versatility if he does need to play on defense. And like I said, their special teams was abominable last year. So maybe they got to keep Neal around.
Okay. And then give me, last question on the depth chart, give me a breakout player, a veteran player that was on the team last year that could take another step, sort of like D Winters type, someone like that you think is, maybe either going to graduate to starter or maybe graduate to something from starter to all pro possibility. Or
I think so. So I think Lenore could be an all pro type of guy potentially.
Okay.
As far as a leap goes, D Winters is already there just by being the starter for me. I'll pick Renardo Green. Renardo Green, second round pick last year.
That's a good one.
Had a nice rookie year, but it wouldn't if you told me, he really broke out, he's a Pro Bowler and really locked in year 2, I wouldn't be that surprised. On offense, I think I'm not going to complicate it. It's Pearsall. Pearsall's the breakout candidate.
Yeah, that's an easy one, right?
You can try and talk yourself into Colton McKivitz. Maybe he's a Pro Bowler this year, the right tackle. Yeah. No, Pearsall's the guy.